Alright, it's me. It's me. Guess what? It's me. It's me. Your Glasgow Genuine, Celtic Maddie, and Scottish Rebel. Here's my new nickname. My brand new nickname. See me in my... I can show you something. I'm back after 3 months break. Sorry about that. I need to find a new direction for my channel. Change it a wee bit. We refreshment, you know. But here I am, your Glasgow Genuine, Celtic Maddie, and Scottish Rebel. That's my new nickname, as I mentioned. Here I am, my Scotland t-shirt, my tartan jacket, and in my hat. Pure Scottish, isn't it? That's because I'm going to talk about Scottish Independence Day. We rode for Scotland. We rode... sorry, I should use another word. For Scotland to be independent again, to be freed again for the clutches of the English. I love this. I love saying that. I love to use such words, you know. I just love it. So, here I am, your wee Glasgow Genuine, Scottish Rebel, Celtic Maddie. Alright, here he is. Alright. So, let's start with, maybe I should start with the latest Celtic, the latest derby game. What had happened that day, and that's why it's so scandalous. But it's so fucking scandalous. You know how that is. You know, that should have been football passion, emotions. But instead we got what we got. We got scandalous behaviour of fucking fans, zombies fans. Let me present you some case here. As I said in my article, Celtic won the battle at Ibrox on a Wednesday, but on a Sunday. But the players showed everything: courage, discipline, nerve, a penalty shootout, and earned exactly what they deserved. Celtic deserved everything. The best is the best. They knocked them down. They just knocked Ibrox club out. They knocked them fucking out, hammered them, put them to the ground like parasites. I just loved it, you know. I just loved the frustration on Zombies fans' faces. That frustration, that complaint, Celtic did it again. Oh no. I think what they are mental. They are pure crazy. They are fucking... I don't know how to define them. Like parasites. Like, because you can't explain such behaviour, such scandalous behaviour towards Celtic fans, towards Celtic stuff, towards Celtic boys, players, and that. You can't... And incidents which took place afterwards, after the game, you can't explain it properly. It's just violence. Violence equals violence. So you could... So continue to the game. I'll start with the game. So I have to tell you that I felt proud of Celtic. I felt proud of Celtic that day. I felt proud of mentality. I felt proud of the resilience that way. And the players kept their nerve. Seriously. So, but also I feel shocked and raging, as you know, deeply upset. So, but what happened afterwards? Football rivalry. Let me tell you this. Football rivalry is one thing, but what we saw after the match went far beyond rivalry. Far beyond rivalry. So that was disgraceful. That was disgrace beyond disgrace. Disgrace beyond belief, man. To be quite honest, you know, I watched that game with my nerves already shredded. I was jumping up and down. I was just walking back and forth. I couldn't stand properly. I couldn't sit here in my armchair. I couldn't sit here. let me tell you, I couldn't sit here and watch that game properly. Like some emotions. But me, calm down. Couldn't focus. So that pressure, the noise, the tension, man, the constant fear of the laps change everything, man. That is this fixture. That's the as a sport. Because as I mentioned, games like these, derby games at Ibrox, they're something. They're like not real at all. It's not like normal games at normal times, normal clubs, not just like mental and crazy and fucking violent Ibrox rats. There's no that. So then Celtic go through it. Celtic go through it, but one thanks to penalties. I was praying. Let me tell you, I was praying. No penalties, please. But no, the penalties came. I got a wee feeling just during the game that, oh no, the penalties again. That will be penalties again. The pressure rose again, man. And the lads delivered. Of course they delivered. What's that? After the Ibrox captain missed in a fucking embarrassing way. That captain, by the way, that captain of Ibrox is he's called Celtic fans were trolling him, and they called him missed penalty, missed embarrassment. So Celtic showed composure yet again. That mattered, very mattered. So penalties for Alex Chamberlain, Austin Trusty, Rio Hatate, and Thomas Chvanchera. One first to send for hoops into the semi-final Scottish Cup. They were fucking raging. They were raging because Celtic did it again. Celtic knocked them out the Scottish Cup final. And they're fucking raging for that. I can't agree. I can't tolerate it. The fucking Zombies fans. Rats. I call them fans. Use the quotation marks here because fans can behave properly. Fans can show respect. But they don't. So they know they shouldn't be called fans. Whatever. So let me be clear here. I'm not talking about ordinary disappointment or angry reactions to defeat. No. So I'm not even, talking about the usual bitterness, always surrounds that fixture. No, I'm talking about something more disgraceful, something more violent, that aggression and behaviour that should have no place at all, no place near a football ground. Are they blaming us Celtic fans that we started that? We just wanted to celebrate. We wanted to celebrate after the game. Celtic won. All right. So we wanted to go out at the pitch and just celebrate. They started fucking attacking us. Zombies fans start attacking us. No, we Celtic fans. But what media are doing? They just said it's our fault. No, Zombies fans' fault. Everything's against Celtic, as per usual. It shouldn't be that way. After the final whistle, man, instead of simply accepting, they never accept it. Celtic victories, never. Celtic had won. Sections of home support reacted in the worst possible way. Let me tell you that. Supporters entered the pitch. Missiles were thrown. Chaos took over. Police and stewards were forced to intervene. Officers and members of the public were injured. Arrests were made as well. It's not just a shameful behaviour. No. What made it worse, man? I was shocked. I was gobsmacked, man. That violence, they got inside their hearts. Zombies fans, Hans fans. I just couldn't believe me. I was watching that footage. How Zombies fan. A Zombies fan gave a beating to a Celtic fan. They just beat him away. They were just waiting till he became motionless. That's ridiculous, man. That's fucking... Sorry about my language here, but I was just raging watching that footage. There's no justice here. No grand conspiracy. No one stole anything for them. Celtic held their nerve and won. Aye. But some people just can't accept it. They never accept it. They never accept Celtic winning. Because Celtic is better club than them, so that's pretty the point. That would oppose the most, man. That oppose me the most. The inability to lose with dignity. At all. The inability to take defeat that the human beings and go home raging and ease off afterwards. Disappointed, raging, whatever you want, without turning into something violent, pure ugly, man. Real supporters, let me tell you, real supporters can be heartbroken. So as we Celtic fans, we know how to behave. We can be heartbroken. We can be furious. We can be devastated when our team loses, aye? But we Celtic fans don't turn a football defeat into mayhem. That's how we are. That's why I keep coming back to the same point, man. That wasn't passion. That wasn't rivalry. Or something much uglier. I know some people will say that just Glasgow derby intensity. That's how Glasgow is. We have to accept it. Do something first. People at power, government, do something about it. Do not tolerate, not just gab, and do nothing. Do something about the fucking violence. This can't take place. It can't be tolerated any longer. Zombies fans, fans, they don't feel responsible ever for their actions. Never. They always blame Celtic fans. That was Celtic who did it. No way. Sorry. What a Pesh, man. Pesh come back. Pesh keeps coming back in that way. It's alright. There's a line. On 8th of March, the line was crossed. Unfortunately, line was crossed. As I mentioned, Celtic fan. What angered me the most as a Celtic fan, and me as a Celtic fan, what angered me the most was the much violence itself. It was the attempt by some people to immediately muddy the waters. So we know how it works by now. There will be excuse and blame shifting. There will be people trying to spread responsibility around to family, and nobody is just actually, held accountable. So, but what I saw, that was just simple, man. Fucking simple. Celtic won the first. Sections of home support reacted in a way that brought shame on themselves. So, their club and the game. This isn't a difficult thing to say at all. And some people still struggle to say it. Watching the footage, believe me, I was heartbroken as well afterwards. Even worse. I was even much worse than that. This is on a pitch where pure bad enough. But what happened outside? Zombies fans just attacked Celtic's bus. Celtic supporters bus. Supporters trying to leave the area safely found themselves caught in a violence and panic. So, videos that have circulated online are sickening to watch. So people with bad nerves, weak nerves, please don't watch it. Because you may feel heartbroken, so as me. I unfortunately watched it, but I had to watch it to my article because I was writing about it. So a Celtic spot near one of the buses was attacked and left injured. And let me tell you that it wasn't just beaten. That was attempted murder. Nobody should interfere after going to a football match. Unfortunately. Nobody should go to support their team and end up living in fear, shock or pain. Football fans should, celebrate a win and find a celebration overshadowed by violence. That was make this so hard to accept. Because the result, should have filled Celtic supporters with joy. They were about to celebrate. They were out at the pitch with their flags. Celtic supporters, they wanted to just celebrate. Aye. But who disturbed them? Who's the culprit? Who's the main culprit of the whole thing? Of course, Hans fans. Why must every Celtic victory in the environment come with a sense of the supporters, the players and the staff have to be on alert afterwards as well? Aye? For the love of God, man, for fucking God's sake, why should that be part of the experience of winning a football match? It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way at all. This is why it can't be just dismissed as one of those things, What happens in a derby football? No, there are always emotions in matches like these. There's always hostility. There's always tension. But violence is a choice, Aggression is a choice. Disorder is a choice, And those choices were made that day, 18th of March, after Celtic Hans game. So the thing which struck me here was how quickly the actual football risked disappearing from the story. Celtic has just, won a huge game under huge pressure. The players showed bravery, and the composure manager got them through it, motivated them properly, You can hear the speeches and that. The team found a way again, a way through it. They did it. Celtic did it. Celtic found a way to win the game. That was hard. But instead of all that beating at the centre, the focus mainly shifted on the disgrace that followed. So that's what hurts, man. Celtic did their job. Celtic did it. The support just wanted to celebrate. They wanted to just celebrate. They just went out of the pitch. They wanted to celebrate. No disruptions, no nothing. Hans fans started it. The whole fucking fuss, the whole fucking mess. As a supporter, as a Celtic supporter, man, my feelings are still all over the place. Part of me feels proud and delighted that was a massive Celtic win. Another part feels angry, fucking raging, because the players and supporters deserve better. Then they have their moment invaded by the ugliness. Let me tell you this. Ooh. Emotions. Let me tell you, man. I'm proud how Celtic handled the pressure on the pitch. I'm proud of them. But I'm disgusted with the ugliness that followed. Unleashed by home support, and anyone who loves football should see that plainly. Celtic won the match. Yoo-hoo! Great, man! But it shouldn't have been enough, Mr. At the end of the night with celebration makes me shock and that. The reality condemns what a game becomes when people lose that sense of proportion. I say self-control, all respect for others side. Rivalry has a place in football. Hatred and violence don't. So the truth is, for 8th of March, for me, it should have been remembered simply as a big Celtic win. Instead, it will also be remembered as a night when sections, the home support shamed Scottish football. No genuine supporter of the game should ever defend that. Of course. That shouldn't have place there. And what actually Hans fans, what are they up to now? Of course, they put blame on us, Celtic fans. Of course, that's what usually came out. That's what came out. No, Celtic fans should be blamed for that. I'm sick of that. I'm sick of that. Not taking responsibility for Sorry, but I'm seriously angry at the hands. I'm so raging at them. And one more thing. You can't respect somebody who shows you hatred. It's just hatred. You hate them as well. So Celtic is the best. Celtic is on top. Celtic, we should show who we really are and make fun of those clowns, Hans, Ibrox rats. Hail, hail. Alright, next vote round, it's Hearts of Midlothian, and Celtic just jumped on the second place in Scottish Premiership table. So after the last Sunday's game, we Hans, of course, Celtic jumped on the second place, and it's just biting arses of Hearts of Midlothian. There's just 5 points between them. But I think Celtic got that superpower that Hearts don't have, you know. Celtic got that superpower which can win games, win titles, win trophies, but Hearts unfortunately don't. They lost 6 games in a row, so I think they don't have that something, that's pure special something, that superpower Celtic. So I think Celtic will jump on the first place, win the league, another title, and Scottish Cup. I'm pure certain of that. I'm 100% sure of it. And go home, you hands. Go to the devil. That's how it should be. Alright, and now, what I wanted to do is now talk about, we started off with Scottish independence, so that's where I put my cap, my Scotland cap, you know. So let's talk about how that happened. What happened in 2014? Why referendum was? I should say that. Why I'm a Scottish rebel, so you know that on 28th of March is the march. Yes, for Scotland. Aye. So if you I can't be there, but I advise you to be there through Scots. I advise you to I just kindly ask you to march with Scotland. Say yes for Scotland and make Scotland freed again, independent again. Just imagine independent Scotland, freed for the clutches of the English. Imagine that. Just imagine. I hope you agree. Just hope you agree with me. So what? Why? Let me tell you, it was a referendum 18th of September 2014. But what exactly failed? How it failed? One of the most significant moments in modern Scottish history was that it was organised under agreement between the Scottish government, Alex Salmond, and the UK government, and David Cameron at that time. It allowed Scotland to vote on whether it should become an independent country. So the result was, let me remind you, no, remain in the UK, 55.3%. Yes, out, 44.7%. So turnout was extraordinary, man. About 84.6%. So the highest in modern UK democratic history. So despite a huge mobilisation, man, marches and that, became independence, not several structural political factors proved the vote no. Why it was? Let me present the key reasons why the referendum failed. All right. So first of all, economic uncertainty. There's no campaign was heavily focused on economic risks, major questions remained unresolved. Most of all, what currency would Scotland use? Would Scotland keep the British pound? Would major financial institutions move to London? Fucking Westminster. During the campaign, several banks and companies won by the might, the relocate headquarters of independence happened. They created fear amongst undecided voters. So let me tell you that another reason, it was currency confusion. The independence proposal of the Scottish government suggested that the currency union with the UK, London rejected that. Of course, London rejected that because Westminster rejects everything Scottish. Let me tell you this. Westminster rejects everything Scottish. They completely ignored Scottish law. Historically, they even fortified Act of Union 1707. Completely ignoring Scottish law and voices of Scottish people. Proud Scotsmen ignored Scotland every single step they take. The English. It cannot be otherwise. They just did step by step on purpose. History proves it. With that fortified Act of Union. The Scots were forced. Another part of the English deprived Scots of their freedom and independence was that Battle of Culloden in 1746. They took away everything for them, everything. Culture, customs, language. Even they abolished speaking Gaelic language, Scottish Gaelic, putting Celts, playing bagpipes. Scots lost freedom and independence twice. Once in 1707 by the Act of Union. Of course, the English ignored Scottish law and they just fortified that. That was a fake document. Another Battle of Culloden. So that these two. So let me go back to that. Why the referendum, yes, for Scotland, freed Scotland, failed in 2014. Third reason, EU membership concerns. Another major uncertainty that was on Scotland's relationship with European Union. So opponents argue that independent Scotland might have to repay EU membership, which take years and require an anonymous approval for EU statesmen. Fourth reason, the Project Fear campaign. The pro-union campaign known as Bear Together, use a strong warning strategy highlighting potential risks that included pensions uncertainty, financial market instability, possible job losses. Many independent supporters later described the campaign as Project Fear, because that was Project Fear, man. Because the English want to keep Scots in their clutches. They don't want them to be independent nation. They just want to decide about their rights, their votes, what they should do. That has to end. That has to come to an end. Can someone put an end to it? It cannot be that way any longer. The Scots are intimidated by the English every single time. That's how it was called Project Fear. Because the Scots and Scotland are intimidated by the English every single time. Even I was in one newspaper, I've seen at that time, 2016, when David Cameron said, vote no. So Scots, dear Scots, vote no. So we give you this and this and this and that. But if you vote yes, we deprive you of everything. Is it no bribery? Is it no intimidation? Plus BBC propaganda as well. That constant intimidation, that fear of us Scots, fear of us, of the English. Enough is enough. That's what I'm saying. Hashtag freed Scotland. That's me. I'm saying this to you. Scottish rebel. We Scottish muddy. We Scottish rebel. And now what was that? Late Serge, but not enough. The independence campaign Again, strong momentum on their end. So, particularly through grassroots, I'm saying that activism, support for the Scottish National Party and the Scottish Green Party. So, however, that said, came too late, man, to reverse the overall numbers. Let me tell you what happened after 2014. That post-full fucking political earthquake. Ironically, the referendum transformed Scottish politics. Memberships of Scottish National Party exploded for roughly 25,000 over 100,000 just weeks. Then go back in 2015 UK general election, man, was SNP won 56 out of 59 Scottish seats in the Westminster. So the results turned the party into a dominant political force in Scotland. So leadership also changed. The current First Minister Nicola Sturgeon replaced Alex Salmond as First Minister in 2014. She pushed the idea of Scotland should have another vote. And circumstances changed significantly. Another point was Brexit, the turning point of Brexit. So that actually did vote. So they left EU. Let me remind you that. It's 2016. It was a fucking Brexit. And they turned out everything. But Scotland voted. Remained. 62% Scots wanted to remain in the EU. Right? So this created a major constitutional conflict when Scotland was taken out of the EU against the preferences of its voters. Again, Westminster gets control over Scotland, even a Brexit vote. Scots cannot decide. Scotland cannot decide because what's the most precious there? The English, the Westminster Rats. That has to change. It's so sorry if I'm getting raging, but this pisses me off. It's the thing that I want Scotland to be independent. I would vote yes for Scotland 1,000 times, million times if I had the chance. So I would support this. I'll be an activist. I'll be the volunteer in that march. Yes for Scotland, believe in Scotland. I should make some speech, I suppose. Make speeches, make like. The point is to convince hundreds of undecided Scots to just stop playing pawns before Westminster, because you're no pawns. You should be kings. You should be higher. You should be on top. Use Scots. Use Scotland. So I switch my light on a bit. So the political situation leading toward 2026. Since Brexit, the independence debates remained centred in Scottish politics. Let me say that. The Scottish government, led successively by Nicola Sturgeon, of course, later Hamza Yousaf, as you remember, continued to push for another referendum. But in 2022, the court ruled that Scottish Parliament can hold an independence referendum without Westminster's approval. Of course, and Westminster rejected the idea. And Scotland lost their chance, another chance for a referendum. Yes, for Scotland. 2022, again, Westminster voted against it. You have no voice, Scotland. Shut your mouth, Scotland. That's it. History proves it. Scotland has a right to have their own voice. That voice should not be muffled at any price. Scotland should be heard yet again, even louder, to shut the Westminster Rats up. Sorry. But Scotland become independent in 2026, of course. Would you believe that? My question is, would you believe that in Scotland being independent in 2026? Factors that could help independence are Brexit consequences, Main consequences that the Westminster is falling down. Reforms in the House of Lords are falling down. Many voters who supported the EU remain dissatisfied with Brexit economic political consequences. Another one is political dominance and pro-independence parties. As you know, so the parties supporting independence, including the Scottish National Party and the Scottish Green Party. So I think everybody won majority in the Scottish Parliament. So identity shift. Of course, younger generations of Scotland tend to be more pro-independence than older voters. Demographic change slowly shifts the balance. Unfortunately, factors that still make independence difficult. Economic questions remain the same questions of 2014. Currency, pound, Scottish currency or euro. Public finances, that's another point. Trade border, the rest of the UK. The rest of the UK remains Scotland's largest trading partner, so which complicates independence planning. Political fatigue, all right? So after years of constitutional debates, some voters feel exhausted by the issue, and prefer economic stability. So divided electorate support for independence and fluctuates around 45-52% in Poland. So people are divided. All right. The mistakes of 2024 Scottish independence campaign were the currency strategy was never clear, of course. One of the most damaging weaknesses of the independent campaign concerned currency. The Scottish government, by Alex Salmond, proposed a formal currency union. With using the rest of the UK, meaning Scotland would keep using the British pound, but sharing the Bank of England. The problem appeared when UK government, led by David Cameron, rejected the idea outright. I'm sick of that. Second of all, economic risks dominated the debate. The independence campaign tried to emphasize opportunity. So, economic growth, control over resources. Yep. Scottish Rebel is going to switch light one. Yep. Sorry for a wee shift. Right, it's me again. So, how would the unionist campaign shifted the entire debate toward risk management. All right, the pro-UK better together. Successfully framed the referendum around questions like: would pensions be secure? Would businesses leave Scotland? Would taxes rise? EU membership was not fully explained. As Scotland voted, 62% remain in the EU. So another vulnerability concerns Scotland's future relationship with the European Union. So the Yes campaign argued that Scotland would continue the EU membership, smoothly. Right? Opponents argued something very different. Scotland would have to apply for EU membership again. All EU member states would need to approve the application process. It may take years. Some European politicians hinted that the countries facing their own separatist movements might block Scotland's entry. Of course, who blocks Scotland? The English. Every single time. The campaign begins technically early stage of the independence. Campaign focused heavily on policy, documents, and economic modelling. For example, the Scottish government published a white paper on independence, a very detailed blueprint for how independent state might function. Quite important that it's dense and technical, and many ordinary voters never read it. So meanwhile, a unionist campaign communicated through simple emotional message: security, stability, protecting pensions, protecting jobs. Next, final weeks, and search came too late. As the final weeks before the vote, support for independence rose dramatically. Large rallies, grassroots movements, intense campaigning. Energized many voters. The Yes campaign began to feel unstoppable. However, the sudden rise in support also triggered the powerful response from the UK political establishment. Leaders of three main UK parties, David Cameron, Ed Miliband, Nick Clegg, issued what became known as the vow. They promised Scotland expanded devolved powers, stronger control over taxation, more autonomy within the UK, but if they vote no for independence. See, that was the fucking point. That was bribery, not a vow. There's the irony of the referendum. All right. Although the immense supporters lost the vote, a referendum transformed Scottish politics, man. Membership of the Scottish National Party exploded the party, quickly became a dominant political force in Scotland. In many ways, the referendum didn't even independence debate and permanently reshaped it. The question of Scotland's constitutional future was remained central ever since, you know. The realistic roadmap to Scottish independence 2026-2030s. If Scotland were to move toward independence in the second half of the 2020s, as the now. So, because next referendum, yes, for Scotland is on 7th of May this year. The process would almost certainly be gradual, you know, incremental, but unnegotiated. Modern constitutional separations typically have several years because they involve rebuilding it. The state institutions, the dividing us, the liabilities, you know, the referendum, international relationships, you know. Below is a realistic scenario of how such a process could unfold. Stage 1, 2026. Political mandate, you know. The first requirement will be a clear democratic mandate. This would likely come from either UK general election result interpreted a mandate for independence or legally approved referendum similar to the held during the 2014 Scottish independence referendum. For a few referendum that happened legally, as you know, the Scottish government would probably need agreement as per usual with the UK government through constitutional mechanism, similar to Section 30th order used in 2014. The independence movement would likely be led again by the Scottish National Party, but supported by the Scottish Green Party. Stage 2, 2026-2027. Negotiations with the UK. After yes vote negotiations between La Capitale, Scotland, and London would begin. The UK government, led by the Prime Minister of the time, would represent the United Kingdom as a... Well, Scotland will be represented by the Scottish government. I'd love that. I'd love to see that. Key negotiation topics would include division of national debt. Scotland would likely assume a share of UK public debt proportional as the population of GDP. North Sea oil and gas, control over offshore energy resources, man. Defence and nuclear weapons, UK's nuclear submarine base located in NHB, Clyde, would become a major issue. The UK would probably need several years to relocate those weapons. Borders and trade. The biggest economic issue would be the new border. Border between Scotland and the rest of the UK. Scotland's largest trading partner, alright? Stage 3, 2027-2028. Building state institutions. Once negotiations were underway, Scotland would begin constructing full state institutions. This would include central bank. A Scottish central bank would manage monetary policy and financial stability. Treasury. A full independent, the finance ministry would handle taxation, public spending and borrowing. So diplomatic service. Emphasize the diplomatic missions would begin opening the major capitals. Then armed forces. Scotland would create its own military structure, probably relatively small, focus on defence and maritime security. Currency decision? One of the most important questions. Currency is arguably the single most critical economic decision. Three realistic options. Well, options exist. Option 1 is continue using pound temporarily. Option 2, introduce a Scottish currency. The Scottish government could create a new currency once institutions like central bank were ready. Option 3, future adoptions of the euro. Stage 4, 2028, 2030s, international recognition. After negotiations with the UK were completed, Scotland would formally become independent. And I'd love to see that, man. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. And I can tell you what, the Scottish referendum, it may be much closer because it's the national shift. It could be much closer. Why? I think more people vote yes for Scotland than no, because Brexit fundamentally changed the debate. There are different views on that. When the UK voted leave European Union, Scotland voted strongly the other way. So these voters may join the yes campaign and decide about Scotland's future. So this created a political argument. The independence supported often summarised as Scotland was removed from the UK despite voting to remain. For many voters who previously opposed independence, Brexit created a new dilemma. Remain in the fucking UK, outside the EU, or become an independent state that could potentially rejoin the EU. Alright, demographic change, of course, changing up. There's significant long-term factors. Is generational replacement. Polling since 2014 constantly shows that younger voters are much more pro-independent side. Older voters are more pro-union, alright, so they vote no. Other thing is gradually shifting the electorate. For example, voters aged 18 up to 30, 34 often show majority support for independence. Voters over 65 remain strongly unionist. So, political dominance of the independence movement. Since 2013, the Scottish National Party has remained the dominant political force in Scotland. The party has reportedly won Scottish elections and formed government and Scottish Parliament building. Is it John Swinney, a new First Minister, who is leading as a leader of SNP party? He's leading the movement, Yes campaign, Yes for Scotland. Identity and national confidence. Another factor is the gradual shift to national identity, man. So, more people in Scotland identify primarily in Scottish rather than British. I'm Scottish. I'm proud of it. Even if I'm not from Scotland, I'm seriously proud of being Scottish. I love Scotland. I'm so proud of it. I could be Scottish. So, more people in Scotland now identify primarily as Scottish rather than British. So, I'll tell you that. But the Union still has powerful advantages. Despite these changes, the pro-UK side still has strong arguments. The rest of the UK, Burma and Scotland's largest economic partner, as you know, account for a majority of trade. Next one is this result could be extremely close. Because both sides have strong arguments. Because most analysts believe a future referendum this year could resemble other extremely close independence votes. If I believe Scotland regains independence this year, I strongly believe Scotland regain independence against the odds. I think Scotland is the nation, invincible one, which will fight until the end. Scots will fight until the end. till they regain independence, till be freed again. They no give up. True Scotsmen will no give up. Never, ever one. Alright. Now, imagine how... by the way, Scotland got its claim of right in 1689. That could give Scotland and Scots right to decide about the most pivotal, crucial things. And be independent. We should use that document, the claim of right, 1689. We should. Now imagine how independent Scotland would look like. Political system. Scotland would almost certainly remain a parliamentary democracy. With Parliament and Scottish Parliament building. Two constitutional models are possible. Constitutional monarchy. The country could keep it in British monarch. A head of state similar to Canada. Wow. Republic. Alternatively, Scotland could adopt the elected ceremonial president. The first option might be politically easier during transition. Economy. The Scottish economy would likely resemble of medium-sized European countries like Denmark or Finland. Key economic sectors would include energy. Scotland has enormous renewable energy potential, particularly offshore wind, tidal power, hydroelectricity. Financial services. La Capitale is already a major European financial centre. Technology and research. Universities such as University of Edinburgh, University of Glasgow contribute strongly to scientific and technological innovation. Tourism. Historic sites, landscape sites such as La Capitale, Glasgow, attract millions of visitors annually. Population of state size. An independent Scotland would have roughly 1 million people. GDP comparable to countries like New Zealand, Slovakia. It places Scotland firmly among small but economically advanced European states. Foreign policy, an independent Scotland would likely prioritise close economic ties with the rest of the UK, rejoining European political structures, strong relations with Nordic and North Atlantic countries. Geographically, politically, Scotland would likely position itself as Northern European social democracy. The biggest challenge, despite the opportunities, independence would come with real challenges. The biggest would likely be managing the economic transition, establishing a stable currency, maintaining trade the rest of the UK, because roughly 60% of Scottish exports currently go there. So if I believe Scotland regain independence, yes, I believe in Scotland. Yes for Scotland, aye? So, Scotland in my head. What else, man? Next time. Alright. So, yeah. Scottish Rebel. Glasgow Genuine Celtic Maddie. I'm going to tell you that from now on, my videos will be published on every Tuesday. And next time, I'm going to continue about Scottish independence. Freed Scotland. Follow me there. And about Celtic news. And I'm going to show you around Scotland. So next time, I'm going to show you around Isle of Skye. So, hail. Yes for Scotland. Mwah.